Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sam. I'm a representative director at Klaytn Foundation. Today, I'm going to share a Project Dragon that actually integrates Klaytn and Finshare to create Asia's leading blockchain. So here's the background. You know, the Web3 industry is growing, and so the market cap is also growing. And we haven't seen a lot of mass adoption of Web3 technology in different areas. But if we look at the Asia's market, and then the Asia's total global GDP is about 35% in total. And also, if we look at the transaction volume of cryptocurrencies in Asia, and then that is about 78%. But if we look into the value of the mainnet based in Asia, then it's very fragmented and it's only about 4.9%. So we thought that if we combine our efforts to create a larger and more synergistic ecosystem, and then we thought that we can reach out to the next level and we can make a bigger and more synergistic ecosystem. So this is the summary that our proposal. Actually, we proposed this 2 months ago to Klaytn and Finshare's both governances, and then we got approval from the both governances. So in summary, we want to merge two chains, Klaytn chain and Finshare chain, with the aim of establishing Asia's leading Web3 ecosystem. So Klaytn was initiated by Kakao, which is one of the largest IT company in South Korea. And Klaytn, since the beginning, we have been focusing on a public blockchain and public infrastructure and Web3 DApps and so on. On the other hand, Finshare blockchain was initiated by Line, probably quite a similar time in 2018, and it has been focusing on more Web3 production by focusing on the conversion of Web2 application and Web2 users to Web3 services and Web3 users. So by merging these two, we believe that we can build the largest or Asia's #1 blockchain in terms of infrastructure and Web3 services. So just for your backgrounds, Kakao is one, as I mentioned, one of the largest IT company in South Korea, which has more than 96% of market share in terms of messaging services. But apart from messaging services, it also has gaming and content and finance and also mobility services. And it's a quite dominant IT platform in South Korea. And they started Klaytn 2018, and then and this is a summary of Klaytn that I'm working on. So Klaytn is an EVM compatible public layer 1 blockchain, and it was started in about 5 years ago, and it has been providing high-performance environment for developers and for users. So it provides 1 second block time with immediate finality, and it has more than 4,000 TPS in terms of throughput. And unlike other blockchains, it uses Istanbul BFT. It's a kind of PBFT algorithm, and so it has a set of validators like on the right side. So it has, it's called Klaytn Governance Council. Currently, we have more than 30 members in our council, and it's growing as well. So Line, I believe most of you heard about Line Corporation. It has a long history, more than 20 years, and it's a Japanese messaging service company, and is in terms of MAU, its global MAU is more than 193 million, and it has many members over the world. And they also, interestingly, as I mentioned, is very similar time, around 2018. They also launched their own blockchain platform called Line Blockchain, and then they have been also developing their blockchain for more use cases. And their blockchain is called Finshare, and originally their blockchain was called Line Blockchain, and then at the time the Line Blockchain was a kind of private blockchain, but recently they changed their blockchain to a public one, and public one is called Finshare, and then they have been working with many Web2 companies and users. And they also have governance structure consisting of 15 global companies. And also they have many use cases, mostly from Web2 use cases. So that means they apply the Web3 technology and Web3 environment to Web2 services. So by merging these two networks, and we can create a more a bigger environment and bigger Web3 ecosystem. So that means, as I mentioned, Klaytn was backed by Kakao and KakaoTalk, and Pinsha was backed by Line. And by merging these two, we can reach out to a huge user base. It's around 250 million users, especially in Asia. And we can have more than 420 DFs and services. And in terms of governance, we can build the largest governance structure in Asia that has more than 45 members. So our vision of this chain merge is to achieve mass adoption of Web3 in Asia and throughout over the world. So our strategy to achieve the mass adoption of Web3 in Asia and in the world, our strategy is like this. So we summarized 4 main strategies to establish new layer 1 and to facilitate optimal competitiveness and growth. So first thing is, of course, as I mentioned, we have a huge user base in Asia, and it's about 250 million users, and we can reach out to them with Web3 DFs and also Web3 technology, and of course, we can connect this user base and new services onboarded on the new chain, and that would be the first strategy we want to focus and we want to utilize. The second strategy is, of course, tokenomics. We have experience of long history. Both chains have a history of more than 5 years. That means we had a lot of trial and errors in terms of tokenomics and in terms of use cases. So we think that the next tokenomics for this new chain will be more enhanced and with more the burning models or more sustainable models. And that is the second strategy. And the third strategy is about technology. Klaytn is based on EVM, and on the other hand, Pinsha is based on the Cosmos technology. So, you might think that these two are very different technologies, and it will be very challenging to combine these two. So, but, the cost EVM, today we talked about a lot of layer 2s and even layer 3 to enhance the scalability of Ethereum. And also there are different EVM chains, and we know that there are many developers and services that are relying on EVM. But on the other side, there is also Cosmos, and their Cosmos network is also growing, and their technology is a bit, it's different from EVMs, but in essential, they want to also make a more adoption of Web3 technology. So our strategy for technology is to combine these two to create a more interoperable and more compatible network with existing layer 1 and layer 2s. And the last but not the least is about governance and decentralization. That Klaytn and Pinsha were initiated by bigger companies in Asia, but we have been trying to decentralize our networks in terms of governance and in terms of participants. So as I mentioned, we'll create a more bigger governance structure by merging these two governance structures. And also that means we'll have more participants in the network, and we'll achieve more decentralized network. So a bit more specific things. The first thing regarding the strategy. So we know that we saw that the Bitcoin ETF brought a lot of liquidity to the industry, and then also we know that many institutions are interested in investing and also exploring this area. And we thought that the network and the ecosystem should be ready for these institutions, and that means we'll be ready for these institutions' demands. And again, our heritage is in Asia, and so our blockchain will be, even though we'll be expanding to the global, but we'll be Asia-based and Asia-first blockchain. And decentralized and governance perspective, again, we'll build a bigger governance that has more companies and more project teams involved in this network. And again, we'll be a more decentralized network. And the second strategy, specific strategy for our network is, that we have strengths, especially in Web 2 and also in Web 3. Klaytn has been more focused on Web 3 projects and the crypto native projects, while the Finja has been focusing on the Web 2 use cases. The Web 2 use cases mean the connecting Web 3 and Web 2. So by merging these two, we have a broad scope of coverage. So because we can connect Web 2 use cases and Web 2 services and Web 3, so that means we can conduct this kind of two-track strategy to achieve more use cases and to onboard more developers and users. Third, interestingly, even though two projects have been focusing on the Asian region, we don't have many intersections because the Klaytn has been very strong in South Korea, and we have been expanding to Singapore and Vietnam. On the other hand, the Finja was initiated by Line, and their base is in Japan, and because of the Line Corporation, and their user bases are coming from Thailand and Taiwan and Indonesia, and the foundation is based in Abu Dhabi in UAE. So that means by merging these two ecosystems, we could see more coverage in Asia countries, and we'll be expanding more to other countries in Hong Kong and in Greater China area as well. So as I mentioned that Klaytn is based on EVM and Finja is based on Cosmos and Cosmosm. But if we look at the current landscape of programming languages for smart contracts, Solidity is the mostly used smart contract language at the moment, but it's more than 60% at the moment. So Klaytn is very strong in supporting EVM and Solidity and their programming environment. But if we look at a broader landscape of programming, then there are other general purpose programming languages like JavaScript, Python, C, and Go and Rust. And WASM is more suitable to support these kind of general purpose languages. And the Cosmosm is ready for this kind of support. And by merging these two technologies, we can provide more, convenient or more advanced environment for developers. So that's our vision, and that will maximize interoperability and compatibility with existing technology and the future technology as well. Lastly, so if you look at the governance structure in Klaytn and the Finja, we have, as I mentioned, we have governance council members in both chains. But if we look into the token distribution of two networks, and in Klaytn, the token distribution is a bit centered on big companies like Kakao. But in Finja network, the token is distributed more to the holders. But by merging these two, we can have this kind of distribution. That means no one is able to handle all the governance in the network. So the governance will be more decentralized, and the token distribution will be more balanced in the new network. So this is our roadmap. We proposed this governance proposal in January, and we got approval in February. And both foundations are working hard to make it happen. And the new token and new chain will be released in June. And in parallel, both teams are working hard to merge different ecosystems and different communities. And lastly, okay, so this month, because of the time limit, I was a bit fast. So this month's new brand for the new chain will be released soon, and then please stay tuned. Probably at the end of this month, new brand will be revealed. And again, in June, we'll have a merged network launch, and new technology, token, and ecosystem and governance will be announced in June. Thank you for your attention. Yeah.